Hello friends, today's date is 2 September 2021 and today's topic is exception handling. So let's see what is the exception handling. Exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanisms for handle the runtime errors so that the normal flow of the application can be maintained. Now we have to see we can see the what is the exception in Java. Dictionary meaning exception is a abnormal condition. In a Java, exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of program. It is an object which is thrown at runtime. Now we can see the what is the exception handling. Exception handling is a mechanism to handle the runtime errors such as class not found exception, input output exception, SQL exceptions, remote exception, etc. Then now we can see the advantages of exception handling. The core advantage of exception handling is to maintain the normal flow of the application. An exception normally disturb the normal flow of the applications. That is why we need to handle the exception. Let's consider a scenario. First statement first, then after statement second, then statement third, statement 5. Statement 5 this is occur the exception occurs. Exception occur, then statement 6, statement 7, statement 8 up to statement 10. Suppose there are 10 statements in a Java program and an exception occurs at runtime. Exception occurs at the statement 5 and the rest of the code will not be executed. That is statement 6 to 10 will not be executed. Then when we perform the exception handling, the rest of the statement will be executed. That is why we use the exception handling in a Java. Now we can see the hierarchy of exception class. The Java.language.throwable class is the root class of Java exception hierarchy, inherited by two subclasses, exception and errors. The hierarchy of Java exception classes is throwable is a main, and these are two types. First one is the exception and second one is the error. In a exception, there has a 4 types, that is input output exception, SQL exceptions, then class not found exception and runtime exception. And error has 3 types, that is a stack overflow exceptions, stack overflow error, virtual machine error, and output memory error. In a runtime exception, there are 4 types. First one is a arithmetic exception, second one is a null pointer exception, third one is a number found exception, and fourth is a index out of bounds exception. And in a index out of bounds exception, there has also 2 types. First one is a arithmetic array index out of bound exception, and second one is a string index out of bound exception. These are the types. Now we can see the types of Java exception. There are mainly 2 types of exception. First one is a check exception and the second one is unchecked exception. The error is considered as the unchecked exception. Then according to Oracle, there are 3 types of exception, namely checked exception, second one is unchecked exception, and third one is a error. And now you can see the difference between check exception and uncheck exception. Check exception, the classes that directly inherit the throwable class except runtime exception, and error are known as check exception. For example, input output exception. Second one is the SQL exception and SQL exception. Now check exception are check at a compile time. Now we can see the unchecked exceptions. The classes that inherit the runtime exception are known as unchecked exception. For example, arithmetic exceptions, then null pointer exceptions, array index out of bounds exception, then array index out of bound exception, etc. And uncheck exception are not check at a compile time, but they are check at run time. Now we can see the error. Error is recoverable. Some example of errors are out of memory error. First one is a virtual machine error, and virtual machine error, and assertion error, etc. Now we can see the Java exception keywords. In a Java provides the 5 keywords that are used in order to handle the exception. The first we have to see the first is a try. The try keyword is used to specify a block where we should place an exception code, and it means we cannot use the try block alone. The try block must be followed by either catch or finally. Next one is a catch. The catch block is used to handle the exception. It must be preceded by try block, which means we cannot use the catch block alone. It can be followed by finally or finally block later. Third one is a finally. The finally block is used to execute the necessary code of the program, and it is executed whether an exception is handled or not. Fourth one is a throw. The throw keyword is used to throw an exception. Last one is a throws. The throws keyword is used to declare the exception. It specifies that there may occur an exception in the method. It does not throw an exception. It is always used with method signature. Now you can see the example of exception handling. Now we are using a try catch statement to handle the exception. We have to create the class Java exception, then public static void main string arguments, then try. We can use the try block, the try, and we can write the code may arise exception, that is integer data is equal to 100 divided by 0, and in a catch block we can write the arithmetic exception E. Then we print the message system.out.println E, the rest of the program, then system.out.println rest of the code, and the output will be shown in the console as exception in a thread main java.language.arithmetic exception by 0, and second one is the rest of the code. In the above example, 100 divided by 0 rises an arithmetic exception which is handled by a try catch block. The try catch block, and we have to see the common scenarios where the scenarios of exception, there are given some scenarios where unchecked exception may occur. They are as follows. First one, a scenario where arithmetic exception is occur. If we divide any number by 0, there occurs an arithmetic exceptions. For example, integer a is equal to 50 divided by 0. That time arithmetic exception is occur. And second one is a null pointer exception. If we have a null value in any variable, performing any operation on the variable throws a null pointer exception. Then string s is equal to null. Then system dot out dot println, that is s dot length, and null that time null pointer exception is occur. Third one is a number format exception occurs. If the formatting of any variable or number is mismatch, it may result into the number format exception. Suppose a string of variable that has characters, converting this variable into digit will cause number format exception. Then a string is equal to in bracket abc and integer I is equal to integer dot parse int in bracket yes. That time number format exception is occur. And fourth one is array index out of bounds exceptions. When an array exceeds to its size, the array index out of bounds exception occurs. There may be other reasons to occurs array index out of bounds exceptions. For example, integer a of array is equal to new integer of 5. Then a of 10 is equal to 15. That time array index out of bounds exception will be occur. Yeah, this is the all about the information of the exception handling. Thank you so much.